Hello and welcome to Let's Plays Disco Elysium Part 8. So, last time we were having a chat to this lady on the boat here. And trying to make a deal with her, but Kim was not too happy with it. Possibly with good reason. Let's see what he has to say about it.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
The lieutenant's voice is hushed. How did you hope it would go? Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance and, not volunteer us as her henchmen. Oh, so we're her henchmen now? This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands. He doesn't let it show, but there's a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behaviour can cost the investigation. What do you propose, that we don't investigate the drug trafficking? No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we're on the take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate. Briefly, he adjusts his glasses, but do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching. We could just, find my badge. Oh, he nods slowly. That would be fantastic. But do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters. The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence. You could request a new one from your station, but that could take literally months. Her proposal was likely part of her design. This all is. Yes, knowing this does not really change our position, however. I'm sorry for putting us in this situation. I'll handle it. I'm sure you will, Detective. Right.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
You seem smart. I'm having a coughing fit. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in. This reality? She pulls her hood closer around her neck. Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case. It's related to the medical episode. I have trouble remembering even the most basic terms of reality. Ah yes, the episode sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy. Oh, encephalopathy. Okay, now that I think about it. Wow, big word. She puts down her thermal cup and looks at you. Don't be phased, madam. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality. We may be here a while then. She takes a long sip of tea. Ask away, officer. I'll help you however I can. All right. We're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay? Okay, interesting. Where are we? We're in Martinez, baby. Baby? A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover. Pay it no heed. I'm a disco holdover myself. Ha, she smiles. Aren't we all? She refers to your corresponding ages. And what is Martinez? Martinez is a district of Revachol. She looks around, her green raincoat flapping in the wind. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 880 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten even. Shelled to smithereens during the revolution. She shrugs. It has its charms. Just not this time of year. Tell me more about Martinez. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. She closes her eyes. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. She opens them. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wider it gets. You mentioned a sea. What sea is this? It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revicol, and the bay feeds into the ocean. Are we near the ocean? Yes, we are on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic. Okay. Known to the early Revicolians as Les Immensities Bleues, the blue immensities. Vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight. And what's the name of this island? Kelu. She looks to the waters. Imagine a pebble, a smoothed over pebble amidst a great blue sea. Misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We are in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary. It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her, and to humanity at large. Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revicol? Revicol is what you'd call a city. What kind of city is Revicol? The great kind. As if it's self-explanatory, beyond patriotism, the fact. What makes Revicol great? History detective, they built this city to resolve history, our part in it at least, our centuries. Who built it? The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from the Semenine and Ilimara, depending on your creed. When was it built? In the DeLorean century, 380 years ago. And why will it resolve history? They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered, the tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts, ideological conflicts, the stuff of men. Why here? We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. She smiles. It's where the money is. So we're pretty much at the centre of the world? Oh, we're quite a way off. About, she points across the water, where the skyscrapers rise. 22 kilometres from the centre of the world. That smouldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are INSACOM, Coalition Government, Insulidian Mission Command. Look to the sea. Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. Say nothing, observe the large body of water, swelling, cold. She observes your eyes, scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence slowly. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you? Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown. This has been informative, thank you, Mum. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask. He turns to you, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow, isn't that true, Ma'am? Absolutely, my commitment here is long-term. You're right, Lieutenant. I'll continue later. He nods. It's better not to eat all your candy at once. Indeed. I am always at your service. So, we have a thought that we need to work on, I think. So, tell me about this alleged drug trafficking. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Sumerian Isola into Revicol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years. Ingredients for what, Ma'am? Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Let me get this straight. The materials come from Samara to Revicol through the terminal? Yes, after they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here. Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, Ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean? We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. And you want us to investigate. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Everard and the Dockworkers Union. Still, she raises her bony finger. Every chain has its weak link. The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout. The lorries. Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. She gives you a knowing look. I'll be explicit. If you want to find this driver, I will share my company's secrets with you. You'll be indebted to her in a way, but one step ahead of the Union in another. It's no coincidence that the lorries are stranded there like that, is it? No, we asked the East Motor Tract to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, she pauses, looking to the sea. This is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, we'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge and the operation will continue. She looks north. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revicol. Not the east, across the river, but the west, the vulnerable, the weary. Well, at least this solves one mystery. What is that, Lieutenant? Why, I had to call East Motor Tract and beg them to open the drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in on my motor carriage. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kitsunagi, but we need them trapped here. This is an opportunity. I'm sure you understand. Why didn't you come to the RCM earlier? We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under. We know the company has launched its own probe into the union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence. Well, she smiles and points towards the roundabout. Here's your chance, officers. What proof do you have that the union is involved? How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight. There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it. With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. So you think the strike is being funded with source ingredients for drugs? Precisely, smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. It sounds like she's tried looking into it herself, but she's clearly not the type your typical lorryman would confide in. Okay, I've made up my mind about the smuggling investigation. Yes? I will take the case, probe the drivers, see what it yields. Excellent, she takes a long sip of tea. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. She takes another long sip from her seemingly bottomless thermal cup. Okay, what can you tell me about this strike? Everything, she smiles, right up to, but not including, trade secrets. What if I want to know about these trade secrets? First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. An octopus? I will slay it then. Good luck. It's only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world, including your own. What the MAR means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition government. You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words. But I'm derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike? What is your role in this precisely? I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counter-offer. And how are the talks going? Says Kim. Oh, they're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 220M racist behemoth blocking the gates. Oh, you mean Measurehead? Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. She leans back and rolls her eyes. How were the talks going before the lynching? Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I hoped for when I first arrived. And when did you first arrive? I arrived 3 weeks ago. She thinks, yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM. Kim looks at his notes. But the strike began in December. It wasn't the original... Oh, I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over from Mr. Gaumont. Hit a wall. Oh, I'm fudging this, aren't I? I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he granted the union in prior negotiations. This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike. Heavens, no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you would say, aggressive. What happened to this Galmont? Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it? She pauses to compose herself. Fuck off, midget. Galmont is short of stance, you see. Not cool. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. Sounds like usual aggressive posturing. What are their demands? There are leaflets everywhere and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker a member of the board. Most of the workers probably don't know what that means. I don't know what to think about that. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in the Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they're also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. What are you going to do? I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags, a disastrous situation if there ever was one. Excuse me, the lieutenant looks up from his notes. From whom did you hear about this lynching? Her reply comes quick. I first heard about it from the boa at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was Call Me Manana? This checks out. Tell me about this union boss, Mr. Clare. Everett Clare is a man of utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interest of the workers first. Really? Of course not. Everett is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. Is he that bad? He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother Edgar. Wait, there are 2 of him. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everett does. And when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. What about the union itself, outside of the Brothers Clare? The Debardiers Union was once a perfectly normal institution, 20 years ago anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. She adjusts her hair. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say? She hesitates, looking for the right expression. A mob, the lieutenant says succinctly. The Debardiers are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them. Refreshingly honest, officer. She nods. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everett and his brother. She turns to you. And your opinion, Detective? If I may ask, I'm a curious and talkative person. You see, she explains, would you say the Debardier's union is a giant leech sucking the life out of Revachol? Indeed, and a hungry one, she nods. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers. One more thing, you said something happened in the elections. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared. Disappeared, says Kim. Yes, on the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Some kind of extortion, probably. Indeed, the company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him. Thank you for your concern, Ma'am. Would be just fine. The scabs at the gate, did you put them there? The scabs? She raises her brow. You mean the huddled masses of drown rock come to plead for work where the Union refuses to? If they were organised by the Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least. It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion. Okay. Thank you. That's all for now. Of course, Detective. Take care. Right. So we have a new thought. Might be worth, well, thinking it. Apparently the Lonesome One Way Home is going to be completed soon. And we have a most important thought, apparently. It feels like the most important of all the thoughts, one you truly must complete. Okay, we'll internalise that then. And hopefully it will be of use to us. Now then. What to do? We could get that body down. Could be something. And we could talk to the lorry drivers. There's also this bookshop that we've not taken out in yet. It may be too late to do so later. I think that we should probably at least try to finish our investigation of the body. Okay, the preliminary examination is done. Let's get him down from there. The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt. The cadaver is a good 1.2 metres up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship length material. Or even airship strength material. We could saw the branch. Climb up there and saw the branch? Yeah, it seems dangerous. There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down off trees. Maybe we could ask for help from the harbour. I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appear to be suspects in this case, and it seems a dangerous route to go down. Yeah, let's reconsider. Can't someone else do it? Someone else? You mean like the police? Yes, exactly. Call the police. Someone already did. You know who came? We did. Because we've made bad life decisions. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us, and we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down fast. I'm out of ideas. Let's have another look at him. Oh. Okay, let's have a look at the boots again. We've been through all this. It's just wasting time. So it doesn't look like there's any easy way to get him down. I wonder if we can get the boy to climb up. I mean, is that dumb?
Fuck, does Kuno care?
Okay, I talked with Manana about the armour. So, he raises his eyebrows, projecting aggressive indifference. You should thank him. He said you're now the king of the entire Jamrock. North Jamrock, he corrects you. Kuno meant everything north of 881. The rooster fucked Kuno's words up. Kuno doesn't do south. Don't fuck with the Madre. Kuno appreciates you recognising him as the sovereign of Jamrock, though North Jamrock, that is. Kuno sent your fast ass running around like jello. Look, pig, he's suddenly all business. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on. Good idea. I will remember this, Kuno. You got fucked, he repeats. You got fucked, pig. Fucked bad. Of course you're going to remember this. Now get the fuck out of here, griefing the Kuno. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face. Yeah, real interesting. Okay, I'm off. Kuno doesn't fucking care. Have a look at stuff. Oh. So we can... We've got, what, two skill points? We could at least start upping one, I guess. Island Empire is our sort of main skill. Hunches and gut feelings. Authority would be damn useful. We have all of these checks. What checks can we possibly do? Doesn't seem very promising, does it? So if we upped our Island Empire, we could have a chance of knowing what the guy was about. This like looks hugely suspicious, but perception. What is this? Apparently our perception is a bunch cack, basically. It's not good. Anything that can improve it? Logic? No. What have we got at the moment? Okay, so we probably don't need these at the moment. Let's have a look at the bin. We could try to open it with a tool equipped. Okay, so let's equip a tool. Pry bar, yes. Or possibly this. And I think it was physical instrument I wanted to be better at. Turning in any... Blimey! We still got very little chance of achieving anything. So, talking to the lorry drivers, possibly. This guy? This guy looks lorry driver-esque.
I am a gander and a hunter and a gatherer. Feel like a traveler.
The man mutters to himself, accenting the beats as he goes. A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes. Just keep listening.
From another planet. Hey there.
He finishes and turns to you. What's going on here?
It's the jam, my man.
He motions towards the sprawl of lorries with a sweeping gesture. What's the jam?
It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates of the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating, an all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Upon days.
He glances south down the road. Limbo, huh? So that's where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
It's official, he agrees too. This is the antechamber of the afterlife. So how long have you been here?
Feels near forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes of mazout.
So... extravagantly phrased, but I can roll with it.
Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already.
He sniggers. Behind the laugh, however, a touch of sorrow.
So tell me, what do you need?
Care to spare some change for a working stiff? Huh? Sudden financial duties snap him out of his days. Oh, no, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work. They who? The bosses, man. I don't know who these bosses think they are, but that sounds like a good arrangement. For them. Yeah, it sure ain't good for me, or you. I'd spare a coin or two for a city cop down on his luck. If I had, say, 4 myself. Know anything about the dead man, the one hanging behind the hostel there? Point to the yard. He ain't one of us drivers. I know that. All accounted for. Otherwise I haven't really asked about that. Been wasting time right here, keeping busy. It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his nose out of dark stuff. Busy with what? Analysing the fundamental structure and psychological conditions of being stranded in the midst of a sea of motor lorries and their sad, despondent chauffeurs. And your conclusion? A sense of surprise. There ain't more bodies hanging from more trees. What are you hauling anyway? Oh, high-grade narcotics. Illegal firearms, stuff like that. Time to arrest him. Okay, and what are you actually hauling? Can't even get a few jokes past my man. He grins. I've got another haul of FALN cargo, mostly sporting goods, tracksuits and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grad and the Occident, though we've been making headway in the Ilmaran market lately. Ilmaran market. Okay. That's your machine behind you? This rocking beauty? He points to the lorry with his thumb. Sure is. Like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery? A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Kalu and neighbouring islands. This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of FALN rust bucket. Maybe the A6? That's the fallen A6 you got there. Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. He gives the side of the lorry a friendly knock. Me and her spent a long time together. There it is again. A little touch of sadness beneath his cool. He thinks he's spent too long in this lorry. Could I get one of those fallen tracksuits you're hauling? We're pals and all, but I just can't freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses wouldn't be happy. So nothing illegal then? Not unless they've illegalised sports equipment while I was on the road. Yeah, I had another question. Ooh, I can do an empathy. What do I see in his eyes? Which, well, it's better than some of the checks I've done, that's for sure. Tell me about this strike. It's like whatever's going on over at the docks. Workers got a blockade set up, making demands. No way in or out. What's the union demanding? Some pretty wild stuff, I hear. Like a giant new power crane and half the company. I forget what exactly. Good on them, I guess. I heard talk there's a company rep in town too, like a strike negotiator type. They'd know what's up, precise demands and so on. What do you think the company wants? They want to keep that money flowing in, my man. He makes a ka-ching sound. Anything else I should know? Anything else, he thinks. Yeah, this ain't really my area of expertise. I just do my job and get paid. I have things to do and places to be. All of us do. All of us? Us lorry drivers. A few still hang around here waiting for this mess to end. Most have scurried off somewhere, to get drunk or high or laid. He smiles awkwardly. Not that I blame them, really. Not you. Not my thing. Chasing transient pleasures is a drag these days. I prefer the examined life now. Thinking, reflecting, observing. He glances down the road towards the horizon, a glint of something in his eyes. You seem to be a man who knows about drugs. Ah, man, me and narcotics go way back. He folds his hands behind his head and leans back. had some good times surfing the psychedelic waves of my own consciousness, you know. But, he pauses, letting the memory dissipate, those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man? I need to get high and I'm looking for a dealer. Hey man, that's serious criminal talk. Are you trying to pull some sort of entrapment thing on me? Entrapment is a practice whereby an officer of the law induces a person to commit a criminal offence that the person would have otherwise been unlikely to commit, usually through some trickery, persuasion, or fraud. Let me be straight with you. I'm trying to figure out who's smuggling drugs out of Terminal B. The lieutenant steps in. We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbour to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock. Not me, sir. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed towards a conflagration. Wait, so why are you still hanging around? Gotta guard the stuff. Bosses don't look kindly on missing cargo, and it gives me time to work on my rhymes. A rhymesmith. This is quite credible. It goes with his cadence and way of speaking. Who do you think could be conducting the drug trade, then? Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revocol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions. We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. Okay, so we have a conceptualization check and a empathy check. I'm good for now. So let's see if there's anything we can put on that would increase our empathy. This does better conceptualization. Any empathy stuff? Not really. Certainly nothing that we're not wearing already. Right. Hey. Who, me? Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. How come there's word on the street? You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 rial in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs, that kind of thing. I've said some mildly left-wing things, but none of those. Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that will devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder, or do we get right down to it? Wait, what's this communism even about? Failure. It's about failure. Failure? Yes, abject failure, total irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along, you will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organised ruling class, towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers, million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. It's too tiring. I don't have it in me. I'm beat down and broken. Very well, I guess no one will build communism then. Tell the working man it's over, unless anyone has objections? No objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a classless society. Everyone knows that. Anyone? Anyone else? There's no one? There's one. What should I do? You should build communism precisely because it's impossible. No, shut up. I want to lie down and let the water carry me downstream. Right. Let's talk to this guy again about mad beats.
Hello again, my man. What's on your mind?
Oh, we have a bit of a better chance to hit him with my best verse. Whee! Wait, there's something here, stored away in some dusty corner. It starts like this. A mirror's temperature is always 0. It is ice in its veins. Its camera is an X-ray. Whoa, he leans in, his eyes bright with attention. What else? It is a chalice held out to you in silent communion. Silent communion, that's good. He's transfixed by the words. Where, gaspingly, you partake of a shifting identity, never your own. Dang, he grunts, unable to suppress his reaction. That's some great shit. You came up with that yourself? Did you? I'm just a vessel for the muse. Right. But really, no bullshit. That's great stuff. I sort of want to know if it's yours. I don't really know. No matter, great verses like that sometimes. Ephemeral. You might not look it, but it seems you have some literary chops. Maybe there's hope for me yet. That's a strange compliment. Just messing with you. It's cool. You're an okay guy for a cop. For a cop? They're more often into fists than rhymes, see? Let alone honesty in verse. In a small office behind the old military hospital, hunched under the green glow of his desk light, Officer Hans Blau browses through a test print of his Futurist magazine. It's called The Futurist. The typeface on the header is too small. Okay. I'm doing what little I can to do right by people. Well, you've given me some hope, I guess. He gives you a thumbs up. You found some common ground with this man, even impressed him. The next time you look in the mirror, though, remember those words. That's all for now. Bye. Why does art inspire you so much? It does, yes, but what is art? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. Additionally, it's history, criticism, and pure enjoyment. In short, art is the highest form of human communication. Representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Would I fit into the art world? I mean, have you ever looked in the mirror lately? Yeah. You have the exact features of a savage art critic, with that beard and those clothes, dishevelled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture too. Hold on, is architecture also art? Of course it's not. It's autism. What? Box drawing, masturbation with a ruler and a sextant or whatever they use. You should demean and criticise the genteel institution of architecture, while extolling the virtues of pure arts. Wait, what about music? Is that art? Only the most experimental kind. I guess I have been feeling critical lately. Yes, you seek substance, no vapid representations and reproductions of social mores, as made manifest in stuffy biennials. We're talking real, living art here. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop. Okay, if 50% art critic is what's needed to free me from rote repetition, so be it. Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the criminals of the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the trite and derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticisms, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces and reassemble. Well, we've become an art cop. Didn't see that happening. Well, thank you for watching. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this Let's Play, then please like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And see you next time. So long.